Let's see if this got it. All right, we're live streaming. Preparing to live stream the meeting. How this works.
All right.
There we go. And now I can hear myself. All right, cool. Well, here's the thing. So I'm not live streaming on the same link that I originally sent out on Twitter. And so I'm gonna real quick just upload that.
Good call.
And then we'll get started. I should probably record too.
All right, yeah, you definitely want to do that.
Wow, this is just insane. So for those who are watching, I don't think we've got anybody in the audience yet, probably because of the damn delay. We can't, the YouTube gods seem not to want Jason and I to talk. So but we have beaten them. The YouTube gods that didn't want us to talk. Fuck you.
That's right.
YouTube link. All right. Okay, and then I'm gonna make that other link not work.
Good call.
All right, so this is going to be no longer public. This is now private. Done.
What is that program?
The one that I was using? It's called, the one that I normally use. It's called Restream. It's kind of like StreamYard, but it has better audio recording capabilities. So that. All right, let me start the show, and then we can talk. How do I do that? How do I make like just me? Oh God, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Welcome to Blackbird, episode number 97. My name is James, and after much technical difficulty, I am here pleased to bring to you my conversation with Jason Klietz. Jason is, of course, the Accountability Nation guy, which we're going to talk all about. We'll probably talk about love, crypto, which he is pretty excited about, and then whatever else comes up. So last week we were supposed to talk, and I couldn't hear Jason at all. So that was a little bit of a hindrance to putting out a podcast, because it helps if you can hear your guest. And then today, my internet was being really dumb on Restream, the browser-based streaming software that I typically use. So we switched to Zoom. It's going to be kind of a bare bones episode, no music, none of that, which you might appreciate, because I understand that my intro music is kind of annoying. Maybe we'll work on that. Anyway, Jason, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, totally. So we're friends. We're from Minnesota together. Both pretty active in the LP here in Minnesota, the Mises Caucus, etc. But I did not want to talk to you about libertarian stuff today. Although I'm going to ask you for your background and bio and stuff like that. So if you want to get into it, go for it. So yeah, why don't you tell people about yourself?
So I'm Jason. I started Accountability Nation. I've been holding the name for just over a year or so. Never really figured out what I was going to do with it. One day I post my day one photo going back to the gym, and it went viral. So that's how Accountability Nation became attached to my workout journey, which is growing into my roadmap for success, how I get myself from over 500 pounds all the way down to the goal weight of 250, and the other things that go with it: financial health, mental health, and just every aspect that I've worked on is how I am laying out the brand of Accountability Nation.
Cool. Well, why don't we get to the backstory, like the deep backstory? How did you get up to over 500 pounds?
Well, unfortunately, poor decisions in life, poor mental health, bad marriage. And my way of dealing with things for a long time was to eat. And that was my comfort. So for a number of years, even though I was an active person, I was always eating a large amount of food and all the wrong foods. So as the years had passed, I started gaining weight at a real rapid rate. And back in 2008, when I was laid off from a job that I was working where I was very active, I started sitting around not doing much and just continued to eat and continued to gain weight. And it all crescendoed on January 17th, 2011. I had a blood clot break free. It blocked the flow of blood to my brain, and I effectively died on my kitchen floor. And I was resuscitated by paramedics and spent several days in the hospital. And at that point, I was 538 pounds, which was the absolute heaviest I was. Go through a few years, I yo-yoed back and forth. I would lose some weight, put some back on, lose some weight. 2017, I walk out on my marriage, and things started to change for me as far as my mental health started getting better. I was more physically active, and I was able to drop down from over 480 pounds down to about 440. And in 2017, get into the end of 2018, and I really started to put more effort into working out. And I went from around that 440 mark down to about 420. Get into the end of 19, and I'm getting down to the point where I was in the high threes. COVID hits, gym shut down, everything gets shut down, and I lost my motivation. I got injured. I dealt with COVID and a few other things. I ballooned back up to 434 pounds. During our convention, I took a picture with Dave Smith, and I posted that picture because I was really unhappy with the way I looked. And that picture started to go viral. So a few days after I posted that picture, April 13th, I walked back into the gym for the first time. I posted that picture, and that one went viral. I mean, we're over 130,000 likes on it, over 3,000 shares, over 3,000 comments. And my following on Twitter grew from just over 1,000 to now over 11,000.
Yeah. What was the tweet that was heard around the world? Was it just the picture of you and Dave, or the picture of you going back to the gym, or what's the deal?
It was the picture of me going back to the gym. I snapped a photo after I was done working out that day. I was just in my hoodie, not really thinking anything of it. I never really had any traction on Twitter, so I figured I was going to use it as my online journal and just be able to log my whole story. And never would have thought that just a simple picture of a big guy at the gym would do what it did.
Nice. Did you get much abuse from your picture with Dave? I know that we have posted pictures of of our like affiliate meetings, and I mean, we're not the just people in the world, and people have like, especially, they're brutal. Oh, I'm really worried about chairs and stuff like that. Which I feel like that kind of like anybody. Did you experience that with your pics?
I do get a little bit of hate here and there. And that's fine. I mean, the reality is the internet never fails, and the people in life that are trying to put you down typically are the ones living in their mom's basement and not doing anything in life anyways. So, I mean, they're just trying to pull you to their level, not interested. I'm going to places.
That's cool. That's great. So you've been at the thought,
can you repeat that one more time?
Yeah, I said you've been at this for a little bit longer than I thought.
Yeah.
Nation.
Yeah. During the convention, I actually talked to somebody about getting a logo built. So I had that going. I was originally going to start a libertarian podcast and just saturate the already saturated market. And when this photo went out, all my plans changed from that moment. So what I was originally going to build Accountability Nation into is completely different than what it is now.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And actually, I think you didn't. Actually, I'm kind of glad that we didn't do it until now, because what's the original intent for Accountability Nation?
So originally what I was looking at with Accountability Nation, and there's still some of it to this day in there, is a group of people being self-accountable for their actions, wanting to live the way they want to live, not being interfered with by other outside sources. And to me, that's a very libertarian way of thinking, because we don't want to be bogged down by outside influences, aka the government or other people trying to regulate us to the point that we can't do what we want to do. So Accountability Nation is about fighting through all that and doing things your way and figuring out how to get there no matter what.
Nice. Yeah, that seems this project called Liberty Creators. I think that's going to take more of an education, but that kind of is definitely needed. Are you still hoping to eventually?
Yeah.
Type thing.
Yeah, I am looking to build Accountability Nation into more of a brand. It's slow going right now. I'm just laying foundation work. I am looking to actually do a merch line with what I'm currently wearing, and sweatshirts, t-shirts, things like that. And also, as I progress in my journey, I've had a few offers to potentially do a book deal. People are watching what I'm doing, so we'll see what happens there. Ultimately, what I'd like to take Accountability Nation into is the motivational speaking aspect, talking about how to overcome your challenges and reach your goals, life coach type stuff. That's really where I'm looking to take Accountability Nation to.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I did a life coach. It was very valuable, definitely. You don't have. It's something that a lot of people have natural talent for. I've seen you interact one-on-one with people, really strangers, and kind of thing. Would you consider yourself extroverted?
I would say so. I'm definitely very outgoing. I enjoy interacting with people. I love to have a good conversation. It's easy for me to just talk to people. And I've always been gifted in that way. Lucky that I inherited my dad's charisma.
Yeah.
That's a little bit. So,
well, it does. I mean, I would imagine that with your weight being what it was, that you have self-esteem issues in the past. Would that be accurate? It's probably
that is an accurate statement. I definitely had self-esteem issues, confidence issues when I was a lot larger, not to mention the marriage I was in was pretty devastating to my mental health. So now that I'm past that and I'm starting to lose weight, I'm down 41 pounds since April 13th of this year.
Yeah.
I'm starting to build that confidence back up, and that self-esteem is starting to come with it.
Yeah, I've got a picture of you on my phone holding a drink and singing karaoke. And I thought of you, first of all, I didn't really know you. Like, we had chatted on Messenger and in group chats and stuff like that. I was really like that was kind of my initial reaction. And I thought like this little beach ball guy, and that was it. So the theme, Holly and Jovi, and I was like, this isn't like you're down in the dumps fat guy. This is actually personality, aside from just also having, and and having the in your shape size is obvious. What? Tell me about Mary. Was she like emotional, or I don't want you to talk shit about your ex, but Anything you can say?
Well, the reality is I was married to a narcissist. And unfortunately, when it comes to that, the only way to treat narcissism is to treat the people around the narcissist, not the narcissist themselves. So when you recognize that behavioral pattern, and then you finally get strong enough to figure out that, well, one of two things is going to happen. Either I'm going to figure out how to love this person, or I'm going to have to step away. And ultimately, I just had to step away. There were other things involved, like watching all my money disappear to the casinos and watching bills stack up, even though I'm working two jobs to pay for everything.
Boy.
And it was a lot of things that just came down like that. And it's just like, well, my financial health has been destroyed. My mental health has been destroyed. I'm in the gutter. What could be worse? And the answer was actually staying would have been worse. So that's ultimately why I had to leave.
I think I've dealt with narcissists in my past. Do you have, what is it like to live with a narcissist? First of all, what is narcissism like in real life?
The easiest way to look at it is somebody that can look you straight in the eye, lie directly to your face, and have no concern that they're looking you dead in the face, telling you something that's completely false and trying to make you believe it. And then when you question them on it, they get offensive and they attack you and bring up all these bad things about you that are mysteriously coming from nowhere. I mean, it wouldn't be an average week if we didn't have at least 1 to 3 arguments that week. And there would be weeks at a time sometimes where she'd be mad at me because of something I did.
Would she ever get mad at you for things that she did? Like project her flaws onto you?
All the time.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds familiar.
Oh yeah. I mean, gaslighting 101 right there. It's insane. It's so watching what I see in our current political system, I'm just like, man, every one of those people act like my ex.
Jeez. So what was the final straw that broke the camel's back on that? How did you finally make the decision? Because I would imagine that the narcissist probably preys on the codependent. And so you might have felt attachment. I mean, the same way that so how did you break that cycle?
Well, one day I woke up, and as crazy as this sounds, I stopped off at a store to buy some deodorant, and that's not something I would normally have done because I had no control over the money whatsoever. And I'm like, well, I'm at the store. I have a little bit of money of my own. I needed something, and I stopped to pick it up, and I'm like, why don't I do this stuff for myself? And then I realized it's like, oh, because I don't have control over my own money. And then I really started to think about it's like, well, my money's disappearing to the casino. She's out all the time gambling, lying about it. I'm just like, it's time to go. It's time for me to figure this out. And I literally packed my car with everything I could grab, and I just took off. I didn't have anywhere to go. I actually was willing to live in my car if that's what it took just to be out of there.
Wow, that's amazing. That especially for all of that. It's like finalized the divorce and everything, or are you still technically married, or what happened there?
So I am still technically married. I'm finally at a point where I can have a conversation with her. And this is where the story gets even crazier. She was engaged to be married to a friend of mine. And unfortunately, my friend had a massive heart attack at work back in November and died right there on the floor. It was really sad. And I didn't find out officially from her that she was engaged to be married till after he passed. So I'm like, well, we should really talk about getting this divorce done since you've been blocking me on it for this long. And she's like, well, I'm willing to do the papers with you. Just give me a little time to grieve this out. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Well, now it's been since November. I mean, we're into July, and it's like kind of need to get this done here. So hopefully in the next month or so, I will be able to finally get her to sign these papers.
Cool. Well, good luck on that. So you also, another big change in your a little bit was, and what you were doing, what you're doing now.
Oh yeah. So I was working for Metro Transit. I was a light rail operator. And unfortunately, that schedule didn't work for my needs, not to mention it's a quandary of my own being a libertarian working for a government contracted entity. And I'm just like, well, I got to resolve those two things. And the new company that I went to, Atomic Recycling, I work Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. starts, no late nights, no weekends, which gives me time to actually work on Accountability Nation, which is something else I needed. So it's a win for me all around. It gets me out of that government job, and it gets me more nighttime free time. So that was
nice.
Goals completed in one shot.
So you were a train driver?
Yes.
Ah, cool. That's I've always wondered about that. Like, why do they need train drivers that they can go over? What's the deal there? Why can't they just automate that?
They could, and there are cities actually working on that. Even though they're automating them in some cities, they still have operators in there just in case of a fail safe. So in our city, we haven't done that. And unfortunately, I don't think they're going to do it anytime soon. No matter what, though, with the way people drive around here and the way people don't pay attention, fatalities are going to still happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that seems just very fascinating to me. I've never known who drove the light rail trains. How did you get into that? Were you like a bus driver first, or how does one become a light rail operator? So this is a super tangent, but I mean, we've got time to fill. Let's do it.
No worries. I don't mind talking about this at all. Yeah, I started out in 2019 as a bus driver, and in November of 2020. I got an opportunity to go over to the light rail, and I went through training through November, December, end of January. I actually was allowed to go do the job on my own. Hit March of 2021, they reduced staff. I got sent back to bus for a few months, and then I got called back over to rail about 2 weeks after the George Floyd verdict was read for Chauvin. And I was back at rail ever since till I left. And just in those 2 years, or that time frame, watching how transit had changed and how incredibly dangerous the trains were getting to operators as well. I mean, operator assaults were up over 100% this year alone. And personal friends of mine getting assaulted by people on platforms and downtown at Target Field, wherever else. I mean, just absolutely crazy stuff. And transit's policy is we're paid to be passive. So if we get upset about what just happened and we actually fight back, we're the ones that lose our jobs, lose our pension, go to jail, that sort of stuff. So
jeez, that's insane.
It's just not worth it.
Yeah. So is your new job more physically demanding? Are you able to burn a few more calories?
Oh yeah. I've been working 12-hour days this first week. I'm in training, and we're so busy and so short drivers that we're out. Like, I was out 6 o'clock every morning, out picking up dumpsters all the way till 6:30 with my trainer. And yeah, we're in and out of the truck all day, hooking up dumpsters. That hook weighs a good 30 pounds that you throw on the dumpster. And it's just like back and forth in and out of the truck, and opening the door on the dumpster when you're going to dump it. All that stuff is physically demanding. There was a couple of days I burnt over 6,000 calories while working.
Oh shit. How do you track your calories?
I wear a Fitbit.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I think for me, I've gained a ton of weight. Like, I mean, I 2011, so it's been a while. But switching from retail to a more sedentary desk job really sparked my big weight gain the last few years. I've been working. I've been have a trainer or something, or how do you at your workouts?
So for me, I intermittent fast. So I only eat between a set amount of hours. And most of the time, well, actually, this first week at work, I actually didn't eat at all. I waited till I got home, or even after I worked out, I'd come home and I'd eat. So I was going basically from 7 o'clock at night, 7:30, whatever it happened to be, till the next night at about 7:30 to eat. And I'd eat one meal and I would be in bed about an hour and a half later to get ready for work the next day. I drink a lot of water, and that's one of my keys, is just keeping hydrated. Typically people think when they're hungry to eat, or sometimes you're not really hungry. It's take a drink of water or two, and then figure out that you were just thirsty.
That's me. But what about your workouts though? Are you working with somebody or at the gym?
I actually have an online program called Gain Trust, and there's a guy named Michael and another guy named Ryan that started Gain Trust. You can check them out at gaintrust.us.com.
Is that Game Trust, GAME, or Gain, GAIN?
GAIN, Gain Trust.
Okay. All right, cool. I'll put a link to it.
Cool. Yeah, these two are doing really good work. We have a Discord that we use. We log all our workouts. If we have any questions, we can post video of the form that we're using in the gym. I do record a lot of the things I do in the gym, and I'll post things from time to time. We also have a weekly Zoom call where we talk with everybody and we go over what we did that week. So that way we're getting personal interaction with the trainers, along with getting the online PDF that they send every week. And the PDF actually breaks down each workout that you need to do. Typically in a day, you do some cardio, and there's about 7 lifts that you do for upper body, lower body. And then there's one day a week they call accessories, which works the shoulders, the biceps, tricep, core, that sort of stuff. So it's 5 working days and 2 rest days.
Nice. Cool. Yeah. I have found that, and the way I said the podcast chimed in on the chat that I'm clipping. I'm hoping that the audio is okay now. I backed them a little bit. I apologize. I did some software updates here, and ever since the audio video, so I'll figure. So that having been said, I got to an intermittent fasting. I do that as well. I think my hours are like 5-7 or 8, and be pre-bed snack. But the goal is like just shred all the fat away. I have found though that the impact number on the scale hasn't gone down much, like gone down a little bit, and my fat percentage has gone down a little bit. But I'm really now, like I without even like losing my breath at the beginning of the summer or in Minneapolis. Like I could pick up a big window unit, if I wanted to, but it hurt and would be your results don't necessarily match your goals, and that's
so for that, a lot of it comes down to with consistency in lifting and doing your workout routines. It's a slow process to get to that end goal 100%. But But along the way, like already I've noticed a change in my frame itself. I'm putting on more lean muscle. Mm-hmm. And that helps burn calories. Not to mention, it's a lot easier to do things than it was even just a couple of months ago. Like this upcoming Saturday, I'm running Tough Mudder. It's a 15-kilometer course, which breaks down to about 9.6 miles. And in that, there's somewhere around 20-something obstacles. And I know for a fact I'm not going to be able to complete many of the obstacles. The goal this year is to just complete the course and get an idea of what it is I need to work on physically so I can do the course better next year.
Yeah, I when you mentioned that, I was insane. That's way more than a 5K, plus it's got obstacles. What around the also take a walk around the lake?
So for me, I've always wanted to do something like Tough Mudder. It's always been one of those things. I've seen them throughout the years, and it's like, oh, that'd be really cool to try that. And one of the cool things is I have a team around me. We're called Scrambled Legs in Aiken. There's 6 of us on the team. And we're going to be walking, I should say. Using the word running doesn't exactly make sense. We're going to do the course together and work on it together. And we've talked about it when we were out walking. We actually did a 9-mile walk. 7 of those 9 miles, 7 of those 9 miles, I did the walk with a backpack on, holding about an extra 20 pounds. And that was not a good idea. During that walk, though, my team and we talked a lot about how we're going to actually tackle this course. And we're going to take as long as we need to get to the finish line.
Man, more power to you. So who else is on your team? Is it just people you work out with, or is it like people? Or who is it?
It's a combination of people. It's all personal friends that I've known for a while, and my girlfriend's on the team as well, which is awesome to be able to do this. She did it last year. I was originally supposed to run Tough Mudder last year about this time. And right before I was set to do the course that week, I blew out a disc in my back and I couldn't do the race that day, which was very frustrating for me, being it was a work injury. And it took me out of the contention for even getting to the starting line that year. And it's like, this year is erasing the sting of that failure, not even being able to even get to the starting line. This year, I'm actually going to make it to the starting line.
That's it. That's progress, you know?
Yeah.
For you, I told you I'd ask about .io. Can you tell me what doing outside manage? Are you doing some wealth management stuff?
Well, currently with Love.io, what I am is an ambassador to the brand. It's a project that I personally believe in. And really what it breaks down to is it's a platform to use for content creators for micro tipping. That's one of its major utilities. And I know people have tried this in the past. Unfortunately, in the past, the gas fees were so exorbitant that it was hard to effectively do micro tipping. With Pulse Chain, the fees are very minimal, so it's a lot easier to purchase the Love.io coins for less fee, and you can use them to tip your favorite content creators like you on Facebook, YouTube. Rather than somebody doing a super chat for $5 or $10 and YouTube taking a chunk of that on you, with Love.io, you could have a QR code and linked right to your page, and people could tip you in love, and you wouldn't have to give the 20 or 30% to the YouTube overlords. Rather, take your tips and love and be able to cash them in that way. And
nice. What is Pulse Chain? Is that layer one?
it's, as I understand it, it's the network that that love is built on. I'm not exactly sure on the technical side how Pulse Chain works. I just know that's the network that they're using. And love.io, you can actually download your wallet and purchase love.io right on their website, which has my profile on it as well, as they show everybody who works on the project. Love is very transparent about what they're doing. Anders Johansson, the founder and CEO, he made his money in Bitcoin, and this is a passion project of his. And so far, it seems to be going very well for the love community.
Nice. I'll have to look into it. Yeah, it looks like Pulse. It is on top of Ethereum. It's a ERC20.
That makes sense.
Lower Ethereum gas fees, basically. So yeah, I'll look into that along. I still, despite everything that's going on right now, I still hold decentralized finance and the other kind of cool things that everyone was talking about in 2020. So fingers crossed. And who knows? My realistic will just switch to love. If I lose money, fine too. So about areas of your life, then are you anything else that's sort of like personal, but for a better term, improving sort of your quality of life? Or is it really fitness that's kind of taking the front stage right now?
Really, the fitness journey is taking front and center. There's a lot of stuff I do behind the scenes that people don't see. I do a lot of networking with some individuals like Boyd Myers or Austin Keefe. He calls himself Barefoot because he does a lot of barefoot walking. Another guy named Caleb who calls himself the Trap King. I've gone and worked out with him. So I network, and I've got a few other things that are on the side that could potentially show up. I don't have anything solid to really report, or otherwise I'd talk a little bit more about it.
No problem. Yeah, it sounds like Kyle Matovic is a big fan of you. Cool. He's one of my favorite people. So shout out. I think he's going to be listening to this. I don't think he's watching live, but that's probably for the best because apparently the live stream is not sounding great. So anyway, have you been on his show?
I haven't. I actually don't know who Kyle is.
Oh yeah, no, he's what's the name of his show? I think it's In Liberty and Health. And yeah, that's what it is, In Liberty and Health. And he's actually he just commented on my tweet, so we should probably get you guys hooked up. He's a great dude. He's from Pennsylvania, and we've hung out a couple of times, I think, when I've been out there. And he's kind of I don't know if he's a bodybuilder or what, but he's fucking ripped. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'd love to connect with him. Have him send me a DM.
Yeah, I will.
That way,
or he'll hear this. So
okay.
But yeah, you guys linked up. He's great. What is your definition of liberty?
My definition of liberty is my personal freedom to do the things I want to do that don't harm others. I truly believe in the non-aggression principle, where I don't believe I should harm anybody else and nobody else should harm me, and we should all be allowed to do as we want to do within reason.
What do you think is more important? Political liberty or like liberty in your individual?
Life, liberty, and our independence is way more important to me than the political side. Unfortunately, we sometimes have to drag our way through the political side to get to the independent liberty side.
That makes sense. So what is your primary motivator for kind of staying with the, doing some protest movement, nonpartisan protest movement, or
So for me, I believe you have the right to believe in what you want to believe in. Who am I to tell you if you're right or wrong? But in the same regard, I would expect the same from you. If you don't like my opinion, don't force yours on me. We can have a conversation about why you think I may be wrong, and if you can explain to me your point of view and why you think that you're correct and what you say makes sense to me, you could potentially change my mind. I do keep a very open mind because I don't always think I'm right. It's just what I believe at that time by the information that I've been presented.
Sweet. What do you think is the
Can you repeat that one more time?
yeah, what do you think is like the primary role of the LP?
So I think for the primary role for us is more culture than political. And by culture, it's about coming together to fight hard to basically be left alone, because all of us really just want to live our lives and don't want to be bogged down with the daily deal of the political side. And we don't want people reaching into our pockets, taking our money. I'd much rather see private solutions to a lot of these government problems as opposed to the government trying to solve problems that they created, because obviously they created the problem. They're not going to have a good solution.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, for the last year or maybe more, I've even confronted Dave Smith about human speech, and kind of there's like five power, and the power to compel people to act is not the only, or it's not even the kind of power politics. So I question for you, it's more word vomiting. But kind of decision to continue on is like, contra our friends in the libertarian realm. It's not only about there's also the sort of which you to politicians as that sort of influence people, Gary Vaynerchuk and that sort of thing. And still people like Gary Vaynerchuk are doing more in a free world, because where there's wealth of going your own way, there is sort of, and so I do think it still, as in maybe rather than vote for them, or we're going to vote for our freedom, but there is definitely influencers in the realm to do that. Is that kind of where you're coming from as well?
Yeah, it absolutely is, because I personally believe that the way to change minds is to affect culture. And the left has figured that out greatly. The right obviously hasn't. They sit on their hands, they do nothing, they talk a good game, they never do anything to resolve. So it's really a cultural battle. I mean, politics is downstream from culture. It's been said many times, and I truly believe it. And with the right people, which it seems like the LP is finally organizing in a way that makes sense. We're putting together a really good message in a way that makes sense. Um, and with some of these things and some of these national players that are starting to join up with the Libertarian Party, like Mark Lobliner, who is in the fitness space. I'm a big fan of his. Ian Scott, the guy that owns Elitist Gym out in New Jersey, actually just recently announced he's going libertarian as well. I don't know if you know that story or not, where
he's the one that refuses to close his gym.
Yes. And he's actually running, I think he's ran for office out there in New Jersey. And we're starting to see more prominent names showing up in the Libertarian Party, which is exciting because big names showing up brings attention, and we're not just this little third party playing politics anymore. We're really a serious party. Finally, we're no longer the party of Joe Exotic and Vermin Supreme. I mean, we're now the party of Michael Heiss and Dave Smith and Scott Horton. I mean, we've got people doing great things in ways that the left and the right could only dream of doing.
Yeah, I think that's and God, I at the very beginning of this, I want this to become like a Libertarian Party chat, but here we are. I one of the biggest realizations that libertarians have made over the last people like like they're not. It's not that they're not libertarian, but I can tell you, platform like, oh, let's just have a bear attack. No, who's gonna vote for that? Yeah, Gary doesn't. He also to the Libertarian Party who effectively aren't libertarians. I know just a second I said that, like, I mean, people were attracted by Gary had a really rude when they came into the party and saw that, oh wow, these people are not fair. Where am I? So, you know, I mean, I feel like we live with our best and brightest and good communicators. We can be successful at being a libertarian movement, even if we're attracting centrists and cause. Did all that come through?
Most of that did, and
okay.
See exactly where you're going with that, and you are right, because the reality is, whether you're Mises or not, being a good libertarian is really what it comes down to, and good libertarians want to work with good libertarians, and that's a real thing. And attracting new people to the party and seeing some of the new ideas that people are bringing, really, it's an exciting time for us. We've never had a better chance at becoming a viable entity than we do right now. Unfortunately, 2020, we had a really good chance. Jo Jorgensen, she's a great lady, didn't have the charisma to be a presidential candidate, in my personal opinion. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, during that time, I noticed that the LP was really showing a lot of the same symptoms of the progressive left in the way that they would handle business. And that was unfortunate. So in 2020, I wound up actually leaving the party. I'm just like, I'm out. I can't vote for this. I don't like the messaging. And really, if it wasn't for Michael Heiss and Dave Smith going on Tim Pool's podcast, I would have never found the Mises Caucus when I did, and I would have never came back to the party.
I think so. I started this podcast as an agorist podcast. So while I never rescinded my membership or anything like that in the party, I did have a good little sojourn out more radical and sort of anti-party circles. Yes, a lot. I've learned from the people called parents. That I think it too much too groupy, I guess, because from one another, but as well, and landed back caucus because that's where my friends work. It's thousands of people who I have grown to know and love for how long it's been around. So that's kind of where I landed in my well, what else? What do you got in your life? Is there anything else going on?
Oh, right now it's just unfortunately taking up with work and working out. The goal is within a year to be working for myself so I can free up more time so I can spend time doing things that I want to do. Obviously, the Libertarian Party is a passion project of mine, and I love being involved. Like later today, I'm going to be out in Bloomington at their fireworks show with the CD3 West Metro affiliate. We rented a booth out there, and we're going to go spread our word and hopefully recruit a few people, maybe drop some seeds and hopefully see something grow.
Cool.
We have some really active members in my affiliate, which is nice. So hopefully that'll work out great today. So, I mean, yeah, that's the other thing that I've been doing is just spending as much time as I can. I've taken a role as an organizer. So I've been doing reaching out. I've been doing some welcome meetings into the party and things like that. So I mean, I'm always busy somehow.
Yeah, that's probably for the best. How's your sleep? That's another big thing. As you just exhaust yourself.
So for sleep, I typically do get between 7 to 8 hours. I am pretty good about that. And as far as my caffeine intake, I drink one pre-workout in the morning to get myself going. Outside of that, I'm not drinking caffeine the rest of the day. So I'm pretty much just going on the energy that my body produces. But you are right. Sleep is very important, especially during a weight loss journey. You need that time to be shut down and let your body do its repairs.
Yeah, that's when that, especially with strength training, the I guess sleep when you actually is that your understanding too?
Yes, that is definitely the best way to look at it.
Okay, good.
Also, with the intermittent fasting that I do, my body's in what's called autophagy for most of the day. You're either digesting or you're in autophagy. That's why I have such a narrow window I eat in. So I'm basically allowing my body to repair itself more throughout the day than most people do who eat 3 meals spread out through a day. I eat 1 to 2 spread out in a very short period of time.
Yeah, what is your eating window, just out of curiosity?
I have it set between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. I do need to reset it, and I figured that out last week at work. Not eating the whole day at work and working didn't go well, so I'm looking at probably resetting to like a 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. window. That's
cool. Yeah, I do 5 to 11, and I'm pretty like, it's gonna take my dog for a while. That's pretty much the extent of my 30 or 5 in the afternoon. Come home and I eat dinner immediately, and then sometimes I'll have like that hungry later on. Although like sense of hunger is really often just boredom. So, but still learning to as far as that goes.
That's exactly it. And that's another reason why I've been working so hard to keep myself busy. Mm-hmm. So I'm not just sitting, watching TV, catching up on podcasts or whatever. I'm trying to generally stay active throughout most of the day. I'll rest for about an hour before I go to bed. And the one thing I used to do is I would bring food to where I hang out in my home. And what I decided to do is not do that anymore. I actually eat in one spot upstairs in the kitchen area now, so that way I'm not sitting downstairs in my bedroom area, just munching on food, watching podcasts. 'Cause that was how I put 50 pounds back on. So
yeah, my partner and I, we eat at the dining room table almost every single night. We don't in front of the TV. We used to, like when we first started living together, we would eat on the couch. And eating at the dining room table, I mean, that's when we do our little, like, check-ins and how is your, we weren't eating at the dining room. Like, we would never have decent conversations, even if it's not just, a zone out and eat a whole chips. Your for your relationship, if that exists. Do you home?
Yes. I tend to eat at home more often than not. I used to eat out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'd stop at Quick Trip and get sandwiches, or I'd swing through a drive-through somewhere and grab food. And the only time I was eating good was on the weekends when I was at my girlfriend's place. And it's like, this isn't good for me. So now I'll go out to eat once a week with my girlfriend. Unfortunately, this last week, 2 days, I wound up hitting fast food on the way home. I was just starving. And I'm like, I don't have any food at home. I'm just going to grab something quick. And it's just like by Wednesday, my rest day, I'm like, I got to fix this. So I stopped at the grocery store and meal prepped for a few days. So I stopped that habit. That
has happened to me in the last couple of weeks too.
Yeah. Especially us to do a new job.
Yeah. Like, you'll have an appointment at 5:30 in the afternoon because it was the only appointment that they had to do it. You get home, it's like already 7. So why not just stop somewhere quick? I have found that casseroles are kind of a life happen. Some cooked chicken breast and whip something up. In the would be my lunch, not lunch. I'll whip together a casserole, put it in the fridge, and then throw it in the oven in the evening, which is the greatest thing in the world. And not great in the middle to eat, but it kind of beats going to the fast place. To say that fast food is always the worst thing in the world.
Well, that's exactly it. Like, for me, I've got such a strange diet. It's very, very simple. I'm eating ground beef or some sort of meat, mm-hmm. and eggs and cheese. That's pretty much all I'm.
Oh, okay. So are you doing keto as well then?
I'm doing more of a carnivore diet with a little bit of cheese thrown in. So I mean, I eat a little bit of dairy. I mean, I'm a Wisconsinite after all. I'm not going to give up my cheese.
Of course. Why would you? Yeah, I don't know if I could. Weirdly, I don't know if I could give up vegetables. Like, I love roasted broccoli and stuff like that. So it's probably a good not to want to give up, but I have heard people results on carnivore. I guess the last. Oh, go ahead.
On the weekends, I typically, when I'm at my girlfriend's and she cooks, I eat what she makes, and she makes really good food. Like, we'll do salmon and asparagus and potatoes. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's a couple days a week that I eat more of a regular meal as opposed to just eating meat and eggs.
What about like personal discipline? Is that something that you've struggled with in the past? And you overcoming it?
Absolutely. Discipline is definitely a real thing. I spent about a month trying to build a routine. Like, every morning I'd wake up, make my bed, and every night before I went to bed, I'd make sure that my teeth were brushed and that the dishes were done. And every time I washed laundry, I'd make sure my clothes were folded, put away right away. Unfortunately, since I started the new job, I've lost most of those habits. So now I'm having to figure out how to rebuild.
Yeah, that happens.
And that's the discipline that I need to keep. Keeping a routine and doing things a little bit better each day. really does help with anxiety, and it helps with better mental health.
Do you have tips for people who are who don't have a routine? Like, what, try out like a this is the to-do list for each day, or you just make the decision, okay, I'm gonna the dishes are cleaned, or what's the kind of.
Well, for me, what it comes down to is what you're willing to accept for how you live. And that's really what it is. It's like every night before I go to bed, I want to have a clean kitchen. So when I wake up the next morning, I'm not looking at a sink full of dishes going, oh man, I need to clean those. And then they sit there for a week at a time and you don't clean the dishes. And then you get a little frustrated and you're just like, oh, I got to do all these dishes now. So it's almost like working a little bit each day rather than letting it pile up and having to work hard one day because you were lazy for 5. It's that trade-off. So it's just thinking about it in different terms, like putting your laundry away right away, as opposed to letting it sit for 4 or 5 days. And then all of a sudden you've got dirty clothes on the floor instead of in the basket because the basket's full of clothes. And it's just like, it's these little things to help cleanliness around you, because the cleanliness helps with mental health.
Okay, awesome. Well, is there anything else that you would like to say to folks at home, advice, questions to that before we?
Well, for anybody that's looking to work out or start a workout journey, just remember this: trust the process, don't rush the process. Consistency in the gym is going to pay off. You're not going to see it in the first few weeks. You're not even going to see it really in the first month. You're going to start to see it towards the end of month 2. You'll start to notice a few changes in your body. And then you'll start to notice even a little bit more in the next month following. So just stick with it. And if you stick with it long enough, you're ultimately going to hit that goal and you're going to feel better for it each time. Set milestones along the way. Like I just passed milestone workout 60. I'm 12 pounds away from my next milestone weight of 368, which for me, that'll put me 2 pounds lighter than I've ever been in this century. So it's just putting small goals along the way. Each time you hit a small goal, it helps you get closer to the big goal. And it's giving you those little wins, and take those little wins and let those little wins build up. And that's going to help build your confidence.
Awesome. Well, Jason, I appreciate you joining. Every time my connection is unstable, which means that you probably can't hear me very.
Yeah, it's happened.
Yeah. So I'm recording a local copy of this on the video is completely podcast.com on your favorite podcast app. You should be there anyway. Before we head out. I said, did you hear me? Do you have a?
So for me, I do have a YouTube channel under Accountability Nation. I've dropped just very few videos. My videos, to me, they're not done very well. It's just me sitting in front of a camera talking. And sometimes it works out for me, sometimes it doesn't. It's been probably over a month since I've done an actual vlog drop, and I need to do that again. I just need to learn the software a little bit better and how to make it a little more visually appealing. So there's that. But as far as for socials, follow me on Twitter at earbuds_music, or if you type in Accountability Nation, that'll bring you to my page. I'm on TikTok under Accountability Nation. Those are the major socials I use.
All right, sweet. I'll make sure to link to those. I might actually head out to Washington today to say hi to you guys, because I'll be down there.
Oh, cool. That'd be awesome.
All right, cool. Well, so I'll probably see you in a few hours, actually.
All right. I like that.
Rest of us, thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Jason, for joining me.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to stop the stream.